Hey guys, I'm CJ and welcome to episode 2 of the Elevated Systems Super Tiny Super Budget PC Build Series. In the first episode we built this $500 Ryzen 5 2400G system in the InWin Chopin Mini ITX case. You can check that build out right here if you haven't seen it yet. Today we're going to cut the budget and the size in half. So let's just get right to it and take a look at the components. Starting with the CPU. This is the AMD Athlon 3000G. It's a 2-core, 4-thread, Zen-based CPU with a base clock of 3.5 GHz and integrated Vega 3 graphics running at 1.1 GHz. This is in fact an updated version of the Athlon 240GE, however with two significant differences. The first, it's fully unlocked and overclockable CPU, and the second, it has a reduced MSRP of $50 US. That's if you can find it at this price. At the time of filming, it could be had for $54.99 US on Newegg, which is still 20 bucks cheaper than the 240GE. I actually ordered this one from Amazon UK back in December, and even with shipping from England, I only paid $51 US after currency conversion. Next is the memory, and for this small form factor build, we're using some small form factor RAM. This is a 16 GB kit of G.Skill Ripjaws DDR4 SO-DIMM Memory, clocked at 2666 MHz with a cast latency of 18. I purchased this kit just 2 months ago for $44.99 US. However, at the time of filming, like a lot of memory prices, it's gone up to about $64. But who knows, by the time you're watching this, it might be cheaper again. Now, on to storage. For this budget build, I'm just using a single 240 GB ADATA SU650 2.5-inch SSD with read and write speeds of up to 520 and 450 megabytes per second respectively. It isn't the fastest drive money can buy, but it's certainly faster than any mechanical hard drive, and at an MSRP of $24 US, its price to performance is hard to beat. And finally, we'll be housing all this in the ASRock Deskmini A300. Now, some of you might be thinking, finally, aren't you missing a couple of major components like a motherboard and pretty important part of a PC build and maybe a PSU? How are you gonna power the thing? Well, that's the beauty of the Deskmini.
The ASRock Deskmini is a small APU form factor bare bones PC coming in at just 1.9 liters. The case itself is well engineered and features open ventilation on the top, side, and rear of the case. The rear I/O features connectivity for up to 3 displays, with the HDMI and display ports each capable of delivering 4K resolutions at 60 Hz. The bottom or right side of the case, depending on how you orient it, has an attachment point for an optional VESA mount, so you can mount the system on a VESA stand, arm, wall mount, or even the back of a monitor. There are also attachment points for the included rubber feet on the bottom of the case. The motherboard and tray assembly slide out of the rear of the case on a set of rails to reveal the ASRock A300M STX motherboard. The STX form factor measures in at 140mm by 147mm, or about 5.5 by 5.8 inches, and is significantly smaller than the Mini ITX form factor by comparison. The A300 is an AM4 socketed motherboard capable of supporting Zen-based APUs, including the Athlon we are using today, as well as the Ryzen 2200 and 2400G and the newer 3200 and 3400G APUs. There are two 260-pin SO-DIMM memory slots, providing a capacity of up to 64 GB of DDR4 memory, and 2 PCIe M.2 expansion slots, one for an NVMe storage solution and the second for the included Wi-Fi adapter. The front I/O is integrated into the board and includes both USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type A and C ports. There is a second PCIe Gen 3x4 M.2 expansion slot on the rear of the board for a second NVMe storage solution. The removable motherboard carrier tray includes mounting points for two 2.5-inch drives which can be connected. The accessories included with the $150 US MSRP version of the Desk Mini include a 39mm box cooler. The Desk Mini is capable of housing a CPU cooler of up to 46mm, which includes the Wraith Stealth cooler as long as you remove the outer fan shroud, an Intel AC3160 M.2 Wi-Fi module, and 2 antennas allowing for wireless network connectivity, 2 mini SATA cables, and a 19-volt, 120-watt external power brick that plugs directly into the rear of the motherboard, allowing for a very compact build.
And I guess that's what it's time to do. Build a system. But to build such a tiny system, I think I need tiny people. Minions! These are my minions, or my children. Semantics. This is Kiddo, and this is Pumpkin. Are those your actual names? Well, they are today because this is the internet. So, are you guys ready to build the computer?
Yeah.
All right, get going. You probably want to start by hitting that little button right there that says number 1. Yeah, that probably works.
Can we do this?
Whoa, look at you.
Then, this is that. Thing has to pull to the left. Yes. Here we go. And then you do, oh, you're gonna do that. Memory. I'm gonna do what you do. It's like hard to get a package.
What's that?
It's hard to get a package.
You can pop it out. Go ahead, pop it right out.
What? You do?
There you go. It popped out.
Is it fine if I push it in?
That's what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah, but like harder?
Yeah, just push it straight in from the top. You got the notches lined up?
Hold that. Yeah, I don't want to break it, so I don't push it first. And then we need, I think it's this. Wait, stop Top. Screw it in.
What are we using for storage?
This thing.
Yeah, what's that?
256. Solid state drive.
All right. What do you see there?
Oh,
So, where does that go?
on the bottom.
Oh.
No. It's fine if I pushed it in. Oh. Plug in.
Plugged in?
Yep.
All right. Now what?
Now we have to put it in.
Wow.
Oh, it shouldn't line up because yeah. Slide. When it goes right there, there, and there.
You done?
Yep.
You sure?
Yep.
You think it's gonna work?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all the pieces, right? No more pieces
So
left?
do you have to put this in?
Mhm. So, what do you need to make a computer work?
Plug it in. That stuff.
What do you need? What do you need?
The plug.
The plug, okay. So, let's get this thing set up. Kiddo, come grab that monitor. All right, guys. You did it. What did you think? How was it?
Fun.
It was fun?
Yeah.
Was it hard?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Stuff not really.
Pushing the memory in?
Yeah.
Well, first I want to say I am proud of you because the very first thing you did was open the instruction manual. Now, there's a whole lot of full-grown adults that are watching right now that would never even look at this. But do you think that made it a whole lot easier to build, just opening this instruction manual?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. And did I even tell you what to do?
No.
Nope, you just looked at the instructions and you knew what to do. Okay, now is the moment of truth. Do you think it's going to turn on?
Yeah.
You think so? Who wants to do the honors? Okay, go ahead. Let's see.
Making noises.
Oh, it's making noises. That's a good sign.
The fan's going.
Hopefully I turn the monitor on. Or that'll be disappointing. Fan's going. That's a good sign.
There's a blue light.
There's a blue light. That's a good sign. Oh, wait. I see the monitor's on. Oh, look at that.
It worked.
That means it works. Have the UEFI or the BIOS screen, which we can set everything. So now is the big question. Who wants to install Windows?
I wanted to eat lunch.
Lunch? What?
Homework.
Homework? What? You mean
Yeah.
you're gonna...
Bye.
All right. I guess I'm installing Windows. Well, that was fun. So why did I enlist my kids to build a PC? Not for them to become internet installers, although I think that was their intention. I was hesitant to put them out there like that, to be honest, but I wanted to demonstrate how easy this system and any PC really is to build. And my wife is smarter than I am, so that wouldn't work. I think they did a great job, especially when the first thing they did was crack open the instruction manual. So, lesson learned. Next time you're embarking on something technical, be like my 9 and 11-year-olds and... Oh, and don't bail when you get to the boring parts. Who wants to install Windows?
I wanted to eat lunch.
Lunch? What?
Homework.
Homework? What? You mean
Yeah.
you're gonna... But full disclosure, I didn't install Windows either. I just cloned the Windows install from this NVMe drive to the SSD the kids installed in this system. If you're curious on how I did that, you can learn here. I also installed a second 1TB hard drive that contains my game library just for testing. Because although I actually built this to demo it as a super compact, super power efficient desktop PC, I know 9 out of 10 of you guys watching this are asking, yeah, but does it game, bro? So I need to be armed with the answer, which we'll get to. So I'm gonna do this like I did the Chopin build in episode 1. While I did run some synthetic benchmarks, mostly I just recorded the system in use in different desktop workloads and yes, some gaming performance. And so you don't just run away during the boring parts, I added a bunch of time codes in the description below or in the first pinned comment for you mobile users. So you can just skip to the parts you might be interested in. Then I'll wrap up with my overall thoughts on the system.
As I believe the best fit for this system as a mini home office type desktop PC, the first benchmark I ran was PC Mark X, which measures the effectiveness of the system to perform several standard office or business workloads, and this system scored a 3383, which is only about 22% lower than the Ryzen 5 2400G Chopin system I built. Impressive considering it cost about 50% less. You can also see the system comes in well above an average office PC. I also did a Cinebench run to see how the APU performed in this system, which resulted in an average of 357 points. This score is very slightly under the average of a 3000G, which is likely due to using 2666 MHz memory. However, the Samsung B dies on the Ripjaws SO-DIMM modules I selected are very capable of overclocking. However, I chose to keep it running at standard XMP profile settings for the system testing. So for the desktop demo, you can check out the system in action doing desktop PC stuff in real time, and I'll just chime in where appropriate. Web browsing, including watching a really awesome YouTube channel, and was effortless. "16 megabytes of RAM allows for multiple Chrome tabs with ease. If streaming is your thing, this system will run just as smoothly as an home theater PC as the Chopin system from episode 1 did at half the price. Applications loaded quickly and could be quicker if you want to upgrade to an M.2 NVMe primary drive, and the system handles complex office workloads with ease. Do you dabble in photo editing or a little content creation? While I wouldn't recommend this system for major 3D animators, it handles Photoshop just fine. It can even process some light 3D work. Okay, on to gaming. The one and only benchmark I ran was 3D Mark's Night Raid, which is the appropriate benchmark to run on an integrated graphics. And let's speed through the test. Our score is 5,261. This is roughly half what we scored with our 2400G system, which makes sense since we have half the CPU cores and 8 fewer GPU cores operating at reduced frequencies. This should be an indicator of what's to come in our gaming performance, but here we go. I'm just inserting 30 seconds of footage for each game tested, and the first game is my standard go-to for APU testing, StarCraft II. We're at 720p medium presets, and other than the fact that I'm attempting to play on the trackpad on my Logitech K400 keyboard, the game runs smoothly, and while MSI Afterburner doesn't play well with iGPU use percentage, I can tell you this and virtually every game tested was GPU limited. Next is DOTA 2 at 1080p and that preset. Again, another game well suited and, in my opinion, very playable on this system. Granted, I'm not an expert on playing this game. I ran the Age of Empires benchmark a few times to find that these were the settings to pass. For an iGPU RPG staple, I ran Dragon Age Inquisition at the same settings as I did for the 2400G system, and I actually found the game to be very playable, albeit still using the trackpad. Anyway, performance can of course be gained by reducing some of the visual settings. World of Warships at 720p at medium presets worked great, and while I did get higher FPS at lower presets, I didn't find the game any more playable, just, well, uglier. Moving on to Rocket League, this title at 720p high presets is the first title that didn't even max the iGPU, but again, this is essentially a mobile game on a desktop PC. So on to the real esports title. Madden 2020, 900p, high presets. While the FPS might seem low, this isn't a Twitch shooter. I had no problem hitting my primary receiver on a 30-yard post hitch pattern. Speaking of Twitch shooters, CSGO 900p high presets. While technically playable, you probably aren't going to end too many rounds as MVP, but dropping the visuals a bit, you can definitely play a few casual matches with some buddies while landing a fair number of headshots. In Fortnite, the only way to make this game playable was to drop it to 720p, all low presets, but with the epic view distance. I said playable, not pretty. In Forza Horizon, I was actually pretty surprised this game loaded as quickly and as smoothly as it did, but at 720p low preset, despite a few frame stutters, which I've honestly seen quite often on this game in much higher spec systems than this, the game is playable. So that was representative of a group of virtually thousands of titles you can find online, which were not ideal or at best possible settings, but were playable. Now let's look at what you can't do on this system. And I'm just using one title for this demo, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which will represent any modern GPU or CPU intensive AAA title. And I'll just skip ahead to the inevitable conclusion. An average FPS of 16. No need to say anything more. But let's move on to what I believe is one of the best attributes of the system, and that's power consumption. Here we see at idle, the system is just sipping a total of about 11 watts. And at full load, we max out at about 53 watts, which is lower than the standard incandescent light bulb.
So that's it. If you're in the market for an inexpensive, power-sipping, casual gaming desktop PC with the tiniest footprint you can find, look no farther. Or maybe you're like me and have minions running around your house and you wanted to watch this video 2 hours ago, but one of those minions was on your computer supposedly doing homework. I'm kidding, I know you're watching this on your phone. But my point is, this is a great starter PC for your kiddos, and building it with them is a fun project. But be warned, they and you will very likely catch the PC building bug. It won't be long until you're looking to drop in a Ryzen 5 3400G upgrade, which will eventually lead to the ultimate gaming and battle station build. So, if you want to be armed with the knowledge to build any PC you can dream of, make sure you get subscribed so you don't miss my upcoming How to Build Any PC series, where I'll be showing you step by step how to build 3 different computers: a simple office desktop, a mid-level gaming PC, and a high-end workstation. And also episode 3 of this series, where I'll again cut the budget and the size of the build by more than half, if you can believe that. I have almost everything I need to start, but everything you see on this channel comes directly out of my pocket, so it takes some time. If you'd like to help out again, make sure you hit that subscribe button and maybe check out some of my other videos. If you like this video, please hit that like icon and maybe let me know how you would use a system like this in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.